Hello everyone, this is my case study for Module 16 for EDL 856. To go over kind of what the case study is about, Mrs. Rose is a new assistant principal to John F. Kennedy Schools. Mrs. Rose also has just recently graduated with her master's and is new to administration. And she recently had taken a class on the importance of building a community in the school, and she is walking into a building that the school and community have a poor relationship. Parents are not wanting to be involved with the school. The building principal is frustrated and has tried to make attempts with the community, but has been met with some resistance. The community and the school seem to operate separately. Mrs. Rose is persistent in wanting to involve the community and convinces the building principal to open up and bring the community and school together. He's against PTOs and PTAs, but he is willing to have a parent advisory committee, and so they send letters home, and the meeting for getting parents involved is drastically under attended. So, what do we know? Well, we know that Mrs. Rose has initiative and passion. She wants the community to be involved. We also know that the building principal is open to having parent involvement, but it just has to be the right moment. There seems to be some disconnect between the community and the school, and they seem to operate separately. And there seems to be also some resistance to change. Everyone's kind of happy the way things are operating. What do we need to know? We kind of need to know what the roles are for both the school and parents and define their responsibilities. We also need to know what Mrs. Rose uh, is is thinking about as far as the vision of the school and what she would like the community to help out with at the school, which then leads into kind of the school culture and what Mrs. Rose wants the building and the school community to look like when the parents and outside community get involved. And then it'd also be helpful if Mrs. Rose gathered information as to what the perception is of the school with the community and the parents, and kind of the perception of the building principal with that community. These are the problems. The first problem is the relationship between Mrs. Rose and the building principal. It seems like as things progress, things are going to get more difficult and challenging, and that relationship needs to really be strong so they can tackle these challenges together. There also needs to be some communication between both the building principal and Mrs. Rose, as well as parents, the community, and students. There also needs to be some unifying events or activities that bring people together, and some initiatives that explain why it's important to establish this community. And then just the overall mood seems to be quite negative in the community and in the school. So steps I would take to solving this problem. The first step would be to make sure that Mrs. Rose and the building principal are on the same page. So I would say that they need to sit down and meet one-on-one and discuss the challenges and kind of gather mission and vision for what they would like to accomplish when involving parents in the community. And this should be like an open dialogue and discuss the importance of needing parent involvement in the school. So some strategies, I would say that both people need to write down what it is that they would like to achieve, their definitions of their vision and mission, and they should be able to discuss openly the concerns and challenges for creating this community, and be able to explain openly what it is they want to accomplish. Second step would be to schedule an open forum for people in the community, allow the community to express their visions and goals and mission for the school and how the community should be involved. And then that would help then establish roles for both the school and the community and the parents. Some strategies for that, I would say that the use of technology to create conversations with the community, to get the information out there as to when the meeting is, and just to support openly everyone involved. To make it convenient for the parents, providing food and childcare so that way, and at a reasonable time so that they can meet. And then make sure that we are gathering as much information as possible and collecting it from all groups of people. Third step, I would say that we need to work with who showed up to the meeting. So don't worry about the numbers. Work with those that are wanting to get the ball rolling, and that will help then create some excitement and energy, and get involvement, whether that's a couple people or 15 or 20. Then share out with that technology and further meetings and events, all of the accomplishments and the great things that the school and the community are doing, and then making sure that we're holding people accountable for what's going on. Strategies. I would say that we need to stress internal and external communication. We need to hold events that are fun and engaging between the school and the community. We need to establish a strong social media presence and share positive interactions, and use that technology to hold people accountable and continue their responsibilities. So resolution. Uh, I think it's inappropriate to keep these two communities separate. This is for the well-being of the students, the school, and the community, and everyone is failing because these two won't work together. So we need to create collaboration opportunities that value and unify everyone together. So what we'll do is currently there is not enough data collected to ensure that these two communities do not want to work together. So there's talk from the building principal that they don't want to work together, but we don't know that for sure. Mrs. Rose needs to encourage the building principal to devote time and energy to growing these communities. He's been frustrated, but with two people tackling this situation, things might get better. And then third, this plan will allow the building principal to grow as administrator, and then will also give Mrs. Rose some leadership opportunities now that she's a new assistant principal in the school. So what do I think? I think Mrs. Rose needs to stand firm on her knowledge. She's just out of school, which can be a positive and a negative, but I feel like she has everyone's best interest in mind. And she wants to do what's best for students, the building, and the community. She needs to create opportunities for these communities to interact and involve one another. And then she needs to communicate and share regularly, whether that's social media, emails, but she just needs to stay on top of the organization and communication and not be afraid to rock the boat or make people upset because this is extremely important in a school. So, how do I feel? I feel frustrated that the building principal lacks this kind of leadership and won't allow Mrs. Rose to kind of take the lead on this and has been negative in interactions with her. I have concerns for the student population because if the two groups aren't working together, just wonder what kind of conversations are going on in the community and then in the school. And then I'm just disappointed that the two communities have let it get this bad. So what I value students' education and their social and emotional growth, and those things only happen if those two communities are working well together. These communities seem like they are not communicating well with one another, and I feel like that's what makes a quality school is the communication. And with that, then create strong academics because outside influences are coming into the building. Students are seeing value in their education, and then that allows staff to collaborate with the community and create effective learning communities. So some unresolved issues. We don't have documented interactions between school and the community. The information from the parents and their opinions of the school isn't mentioned anywhere, and an understanding of not wanting why why people don't want these communities, and then a definition of the school's mission and vision, and where they would like to go and why they don't want to involve the community. So some reflection. Uh, I feel like as an educational leader to really help foster student growth. We need to create opportunities for students to have conversations outside the classroom, or at least to see what they're learning in the classroom and how that reflects out into the community. We also need to model proper communication. We need to show documents and share information with the community because students are seeing that information. And then we need to provide students and staff and Mrs. Rose opportunities to establish new programs, to take on initiatives, and to really practice leadership. Uh, how to promote the well-being of every student in the community? Well, by allowing students and teachers to interact with the community, we're allowing for social and emotional growth. Students are interacting outside the classroom. There's team building. They're getting influenced by other adults. So only positives can come from those interactions. They also create professional meetings so students can practice what it's like to go to job interviews, write cover letters, look at resumes, and those interactions and conversations can be with teachers and parents. And then it only reinforces the instruction of the classroom teacher because he or she gets reinforced by what's going on in the community. Then finally, how does a school leader create this community? Well, first, professional development, taking the time to open up the doors to the community and parents and allowing for conversation to happen and really foster and build those relationships. Second is in the question leadership. Mrs. Rose needs to be present and communicate with both communities effectively and efficiently, meaning she needs to make sure that she is having the proper conversations with the school and her building principal, as well as out in the community with parents and businesses. And then the tougher part is keeping everyone accountable, having tough conversations, making sure that the communication is happening and that the community and teachers and administration are following through with what it is that is um, building those strong relationships. So thank you. Have a good night.